Hello, my name is Joe Kobayashi, and I'm the academic advisor for the University of Washington Marine Biology program. And we're here today to talk a little bit about the FHL 468 Marine Subtidal Ecology course hosted this summer of 2021 at Friday Harbor Labs. I'm here today with Dr. Katie Dobkowski, FHL researcher and instructor, and Mr. Tim Dwyer, UW scientific diver, who are both members of the teaching team. So thank you so much, both of you, for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so this is a short series that we've started to make hopefully concise videos to introduce a cool course that the UW offered for our undergraduates, as well as hopefully to get people a little bit in touch with some advice you might generally have about your kind of field of expertise. But I guess before we jump into the class, can I ask you just to tell us a little bit about how, what your relationship with Friday Harbor Labs is? Maybe Dr. Dobkowski. Katie, if we can start with you.
Sure. I took my first class at Friday Harbor Labs over 10 years ago, back in 2010, after I finished my undergrad, but while I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. That class was marine algae, and I had majored in botany as an undergraduate. I already knew I liked things that do photosynthesis, and so the research project that I did in that 5-week summer class at Friday Harbor Labs became the foundation of my PhD when I started at the University of Washington Department of Biology in 2012. And I finished my degree in 2012 or in 2017.
That's great. How about you, Tim?
Wow, I came out, I can't believe it, but in 2002, I did a research apprenticeship course at Friday Harbor Labs. So that was my first introduction. But I came back after getting my master's degree in marine ecology in 2009 to work in the subtidal ecology lab of Professor Ken Stevens, where I was one of his research technologists that were working on the long-term underwater surveys that monitoring of the Salish Sea that his lab does. So yeah, that's what brought me out here, and I loved it so much that I actually transitioned into teaching high school, which is my current position. So I still maintain a relationship with the labs and help out researchers like Katie with their research in the field, and I'm still an active University of Washington scientific diver. My main job though is teaching marine biology, oceanography, and other courses at Friday Harbor High School.
That's fabulous. If you don't mind me asking, was the research apprenticeship any of the ones that still runs today? The one that
I don't believe it was. It was there was one that was called Marine Fish Ecology, and I think it might actually have the same course number as this one. It was Fish 492 with it was Don Gunderson and the late great Bruce Miller. Wow. Who recently passed away.
Gotcha. Oh, that's fabulous to get started from that. People tend to have that history and then stick with the labs afterwards. Wonderful. Well, so our hope here is just to jump into a little bit more about the class so that hopefully students can learn about it and get interested and see if it's right for them. So we are talking about the FHL 468 Marine Subtidal Ecology course. This is offered in summer. It's a half-term course for 9 credits, but you are both the best people to talk about this. I guess maybe to just get started, can you tell us a little bit about the course? What are the goals, and who is this course for in terms of students?
Great question. Maybe I'll tell you a little bit about the goals, and then Tim can tell us a little bit about who it's for. Our primary goal for the course is to introduce our students to the wonderful world of underwater or subtidal ecology and methods used in research while providing a real-life in-water research experience. We're planning to have things like student-led paper discussions, lectures, labs, and a group research project where students get to try out some of their experimental design and data collection techniques. And if you don't have a favorite marine organism yet, you definitely will at the end of this course.
So this course is for anybody who really wants to explore scientifically the marine ecosystems in the San Juan Islands, as well as anybody who's interested in getting their first marine ecology field experience, where we're going to be doing a lot of different methods. We're going to be working actually in a student shop to actually build some of the equipment that we're going to use, and we're going to be learning how to operate large vessels or small research vessels that the labs maintains, as well as to just sort of plan the logistics around how to manage dealing with the currents and the tides that are a constant factor, and the weather in the San Juan Islands.
Just a quick question. Do students need to have any kind of prior boating experience or certifications of any kind before getting started with the class?
No, you don't. We'll do the training that you're going to need. However, we are going to require students to get a Washington State boater certification card, which is a standard for anybody who operates a boat in Washington, and it's an online course, and it's free. So that's the one sort of small hurdle that students will have to go through.
Sounds good. I know it's uncertain at the moment, but what can you tell us about right now about the plans for the course in light of safety and health precautions?
Yeah, we know this is a really timely issue. And so we've given this a lot of thought as we start to plan for the summer. We were actually planning to teach this class last summer, but because of COVID conditions, we wound up postponing to this summer. And in previous years, instructors at FHL have taught a similar course using only scientific scuba diving. But because of COVID precautions and some of the uncertainty associated with whether or not UW will be able to resume in-person dive training by this summer, we're super excited to offer this course with scientific snorkeling as our main data collection technique. If COVID conditions allow, we may be able to invite certified divers who already have some prior diving experience to complete the requirements to become a scientific diver. But we're just super excited about having snorkeling as an option this year because it really lowers the barriers to entry for the students who want to take our class, because snorkeling requires less specialized training, less expensive gear, and just lets us get more people in the water doing research.
Sounds great. So
and
it sounds
FHL
like,
has been, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, it just sounds like one way or another, there's an opportunity to get in the water.
Exactly. And we're so excited about that. And I will mention, Friday Harbor Labs does have a really good, solid plan in place now for hosting students safely on campus, including these small learning and living groups that we call pods to help minimize COVID exposure risk. And we had 55 undergraduates join us for autumn quarter 2020, and everyone remained happy and healthy. So they've really got it figured out here at the lab.
That sounds great. Okay, so let's talk about getting in the water, getting under the water. I'm mostly a Washington native myself, but I spent 5 years living in Hawaii, which means I was very used to cushy, warm water, tropical snorkeling, which was all great. But what can you tell us about what's great about getting under the water in the Pacific Northwest? We are not known for our warm water conditions.
Tim, do you want to take that one?
Sure. Wow. For me, it's the biodiversity and just the incredible both abundance and variety of sea life that we have out here. I mean, you can see dozens and dozens of different species of invertebrates. I think we've got over 100 different species of marine algae. Of course, on a rare day, on a very rare day, you can see orcas swimming by out in the channel. We've got marine birds that migrate through the area. So being in the water is challenging. It takes a certain amount of planning and a lot of preparation, and I think probably the most wonderful thing about it is that it just trains you to be on top of all of your organization, because you don't have very long to work in the water by the time you either get cold or the currents pick up. And that's our major environmental factor that we deal with. So I love it because of those challenges, and I also just think it's absolutely beautiful.
Wonderful. All right, so let's talk a little bit now about connecting to the science, to being, out in the water, under the water, doing scientific snorkeling, or the like you would do with this course. Can you tell us what's the best thing about getting to do your science underwater? But if you can also speak to the particular challenges of it as well.
Well, I'll say something and then let Tim say something too. We might agree, but I just wanted to mention I'm in Friday Harbor right now. It's winter. It's January 15th, and it's cold. The air temperature is cold. The water temperature is a little colder than usual. But I'm here to do some snorkeling and scuba diving for my research because the visibility is amazing in the winter. There's less living stuff in the water, which means you can see a lot further and do science a little bit more easily. And because the low tides are at night during the winter, that means we get during the day some really nice long, what we would call slack tides, where there's not that much water moving, there's not much current. You can float around in what's left of a kelp bed all day long.
And in the summertime, we have these wonderful extreme tides as well, where you really get a sense of what the organisms underwater are contending with, just in terms of the water flow. I like it because on a hot summer day where you're in a thick wetsuit and you're waiting at the edge of a boat to jump into the water, that water it feels so nice as that cool water just kind of seeps into your tightly fitting wetsuit, and you're finally cooling down because you've sort of been baking up there at the surface. Yeah, the currents again are the major environmental factor that we contend with, but there are other things. One of the things that I like about here and not Hawaii is that in the temperate waters, there's very few things that are going to sting you or bite you or poison you in any way. You really don't have to worry that much about injury from marine life at all. So that's a bonus for the temperate world.
That definitely sounds preferable. Yeah.
And another thing that's good, regardless of where you're doing in-water research, is that having this skill of scientific snorkeling or scientific diving, it lets you explore habitats and collect data that people who don't have that skill set, they never get to see. And that's honestly pretty special. There's something really different about seeing a habitat through your own eyes versus seeing pictures or seeing videos. It's just so much more immersive, literally, even if it's winter and cold water is coming in your wetsuit.
If I
sounds like, sorry, yes, go ahead.
If I should just add one thing to that, Katie, you reminded me. I think possibly the thing that the explorer in me really loves the idea that I may be looking at a place that no other human has ever been.
I love that. So it sounds like, especially this year with offering the opportunity to do scientific snorkeling, right now you could be watching this and not have a ton of experience with this, and you can get this chance to get this kind of unique field experience, this unique perspective on the marine environment.
Exactly. There's nothing like being there yourself. Nothing can replace that.
This sounds great. Well, I think we're going to just broaden for a final question that we like to try and ask everybody here. And that's more your, what set you on this career path, as well as what general advice you can have for undergraduates that are interested in this. And I really want to broaden this beyond what you're doing for the teaching. For both of you, you're both also educators as well as scientists. I know that we have a lot of people that are interested in that as related to marine biology. So basically, how do you get kind of going in that direction? And what advice would you have for people that want to do the same thing?
Tim, you want to start us out?
Yeah, I'll start off. I would, again, I've got a little bit of an interesting career path because I actually found a real love of teaching through working with people in sciences. Yeah. And I would say that the one thing that's probably the coolest and most interesting and most important about our class is the number of people that you're going to meet. So we've got other researchers who are going to come in and talk to us, but also the other students in the class who are going to be very interested in the same things that you are, and are often going to be going off in different related directions within the same field. I'm still in contact with some of the people that I took FHL courses with in 2000 and way back in 2002. And I've worked on projects with them. And so a lot of it is that network that you build. Everybody's sort of sitting down and talking about the same subject, and living and eating and sleeping and breathing it for 5 weeks over the summer is a really cool opportunity.
Definitely agree. Building your network as a future marine biologist is really crucial because, as Tim said, it's often you find a connection somewhere like a class, and then those things, you keep seeing those same people in the field in the future, and it can lead to really cool collaboration. I know I kind of got my start in marine biology here at the labs because I took that class about kelp, and I still come back at least part of each year. And now I've been bringing undergraduates with me sometimes to study kelp. And I think just like one of the best things to do when you're getting started in marine biology is really to just say yes to opportunities. If someone says, oh, hey, I'm going out to the intertidal to count barnacles. Do you want to come? Do you want to like write down data for me? Just say yes to that, because you never know where those experiences are going to lead or what you're going to see and what opportunities that might lead to in the future. So I think that's my advice, is figure out ways to get involved, practice your scientific communication skills. If you can explain what you're doing and why it's cool, not only to people who are interested in the same things, but to people who might be less interested in those things, and make it relevant, I think that's a really powerful skill. And that's something else we're going to work on in our class, is communicating science to broad audiences, because we're in a world where being able to clearly communicate is really important.
I love it. Yeah. And in terms of building your network and finding lots of opportunities you can say yes to, Friday Harbor Labs is really perfectly situated for these. So, well, thank you so much for your time today. We just wanted to give a couple of additional points here that we'll try and put links in the description, or maybe here on the video as well. Undergraduates who are interested in this course in FHL 468 for this summer, they can find more information online at fhl.uw.edu. There is an earlier application deadline than there normally is for registration for summer. It's a little bit more of a process. So the deadline is March 1st. Of this year, but that means there's still plenty of time to explore and decide to apply for the class. In particular, if you're watching this video in enough time, we're going to be hosting with the teaching team an information session on Tuesday, January 26th at 4:30 p.m. Pacific, online, as with everything. And we'll put the link and description on how to get the RSVP for that as well. For any students that are watching this right now and would like to find out a little bit more about how this course can fit into various academic programs, like say a major or minor in marine biology, we'll put my contact information as the marine biology academic advisor. I'm always happy to discuss a little bit more how this might fit into your broader academic plan. But Katie and Tim, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and good luck with the course this summer.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.